worked with Tesla corporate a lot on their builds. And especially in the early years, they had a veterans hiring department. So the guy who was running the hiring department was the VP of manufacturing. He would always give us a call and say, hey, I got this project for you. A lot of them were designing these military themed vehicles for them. So over the years, we've done like their Marines, we've done the Army and so on and so forth, Navy, etc. The first one that they offered was the Army version. So they're like, hey man, we were thinking about we have this Model S. And obviously that was their flagship car outside the Roadster, right? They really wanted to launch with the luxury market. And I understood their whole branding idea. They want to start with the most expensive cars and work their way down. And the Model S was their flagship at the time. They're like, hey, we really want to honor our veterans department, all the veterans that work with us. We want to do a military themed car. And I was like, so what's your thoughts? They're like, yeah, let's do an Army version. And so we had to come up with the traditional Army camouflage. And obviously we're giddy, we're excited, we get to work with this at that time, which was a newer company. And they just launched, their evolutionary car that's, that everybody's talking about. So we ended up doing a build with custom green and camo wheels and full camouflage. And one of the funnest parts of that particular build was going to the military surplus store. And we had to repurpose, the red gas cans into a different color. So that way we can use them. And I think we ended up picking up water cans and stuff like that because they look the same, but they were in a different color. That and cargo nets, and we bought a really cool roof rack and we mounted everything and shovels, everything that we could do to make it look military. So when we walked in the surplus store, we just were like kids in a candy store. Just, all right, cool, we're gonna go get this, we're gonna get that. That looks really cool, that'll go there. And it's the prop making part of a theme build. I think that's becomes super fun whenever we do themed cars. Well, I really tried to get into it with that stuff. And it ends up making the project at the end of the day. So when they came to pick it up, it was obviously far beyond what they imagined. They were just looking for a car that had some different color wheels with the camo. And we ended up delivering with, this full blown project with, all these different things that we had going on, this cool camo. And the military surplus store really helped us bring the car to life with real actual products that, came from or built for that. So they came in, picked up the car, and that was the beginning of a fruitful relationship with Tesla. We were doing 1 year it was a brand new Model X, and we're doing my favorite theme at that time. So they wanted to replicate the, kind of like a fighter jet. So the latest fighter jet at the time, we were going to replicate it. So we had this, and if you've ever been to our last shop, it was on a main street. So imagine your main street here downtown, and you have a glass front building, and there's just cars inside, almost like a dealer kind of vibe, right? So we were able to score one of those buildings for our second one in the peninsula or Silicon Valley. It's just a glass front building, so you could drive by, people driving every day. I'm sure we excited so many people for the 4+ years we were there, where people just Monday see a car, Friday it's completely different, right? One of the cars that we had was a prototype Model X. So they had dropped it off. They're like, hey, we want to do this theme. We agreed on the design. I was like, all right, cool. We'll make it all satin chrome like a fighter plane. We'll do like embedded stuff to look like the camo. There's like this, how the metal kind of has that kind of radar kind of thing that's in there. And then we did like chrome tints, a bunch of stuff that we did. It was really fun to do that project. But that wasn't the part that got us in trouble. The part that got us in trouble was that we had this brand new Model X, and it was controversial because it had to go their Falcon doors and all these things that they were pushing boundaries on. And Tesla corporate was like, oh man, if this car doesn't do good, then we're gonna get in trouble. So they're trying to keep things under wraps for bad press. And there comes some shop in the middle of Silicon Valley with a glass front building that's working on a prototype Model X, and it's all apart in pieces. And it's on the rack, and people are driving by seeing this car there. So someone from Tesla saw it, didn't know who the hell we were and why we had one and why it was broken down in pieces and we're working on it, right? So they started this whole chain of calling people at Tesla, and this person called that person called that person, till it probably got somewhere really high up. It happened over the probably span of a day or two where they were making all their internal calls, and they finally got to the person who was in charge of our project. You got to understand, Tesla's a big company even back then. So we got a call and we're like, hey guys, can you guys do us a big favor and just cover up your windows on the front of your building where that Tesla is parked, so that way we don't get yelled at for you guys having this Tesla. We saw a lot of the prototype things in that particular car that I'm sure that a lot of people, they didn't want seeing because it was their testing in their R&D car. But ultimately, that car came out really cool at the end of the day. And it was probably one of our all-time Tesla projects that we did for Tesla Corporate that was fun. And every time we did one, it would be on display at their factory. So they had a Marines car, their Army car, their this car, and that. Every year, they'll always post it around the right time of the year and on social media. So you'll always see one of our cars up there on one of their feeds throughout the year.
If you get a ticket, the first thing you should do is text a picture of it to 305-305. That will get the ticket clinic on your case immediately. You'll be facing costly fines, risks of suspension, possible jail time, points on your license, higher insurance premiums, and a lot of bad things that they can help you to avoid. You can also find them at the link in the description below, but the Ticket Clinic is a nationwide law firm with brick and mortar offices in Georgia, Florida, and California, but they've got attorneys everywhere, and that's what's most important, because a local attorney will know exactly how the local laws work, know the people who are in charge, and get you the best outcome possible. So text a picture of your ticket to 305-305 or click the link in the description below to fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.